Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Holy cow, have I missed you guys. It's been absolutely horrendous. I've had one computer issue after the other. There have been problems with the internet lines, and I have been absolutely cut off. Now, as I mentioned, my primary computer crashed, and we'll get to that in a minute. So I did buy this old relic just so I could respond to some emails and things like that. But even that's been difficult. It's crashing like 50 times a day. But the reason I got this little relic is because it's in English. Now, I am in Mexico, of course, so all computers are licensed Spanish. So for weeks, I have been searching for a new computer. And apparently you can't buy the computer and have a technician convert it to English. It just doesn't work that way. You can't even buy the licensing to have it changed. So I was left with one option, and that was to buy a MacBook. Oh, I couldn't afford the MacBook, but I couldn't afford to be cut off from everybody forever either. So I did buy the MacBook. It's sitting over on my desk over there. I'm a bit intimidated by it. I do believe once I get past the learning curve that the sound quality of the videos will be better. I believe the video will be better. I think it'll be great once I figure it out. But my son Exton is teaching me how to work it, and there's only so much time in the day, and holy cow, is it complicated. I do know that many people, when they switch from PC to Mac, are really happy overall, though everyone I've talked to says there's a pretty frustrating learning curve. So guys, I'm really, really sorry. It's been weeks since I've spoken to you. I have attempted to make, I think, 21 videos. Nothing would load, nothing would go up. In fact, the other day I made an 18-minute video, and when I tried to post it, it showed up as a 1-minute video. I feel like I'm having a lot of electronic interference with my equipment. I keep taking stuff into the shop. There's no explanation for why it's not working. I've called Telmex a million times. They've got no reports of trouble on the lines. It does seem to be coming from here. And something quite unusual happened recently, and I want to talk to you guys about that today. Many times I have said that I believe narcissists to be demonically possessed. Now, throughout the almost 2 years that I've had the channel, I have come across many well-respected psychiatrists, psychotherapists who do agree with this theory. Of course, there's Dr. Robert Hare, who is the head of the psychiatry department and the head of the behavioral sciences department at UBC in Canada. I've said this before, and please do some research on the man, Google search him. He calls them interspecies predators. He says that after a lifetime in this field, he has determined that they're absolutely not human. Now, of course, there's also Dr. Caroline Leaf, who too says they are demonically possessed, and of course Dr. Richard Gallagher, and many of you will know of Richard Gallagher's work because he does really cover the demonic side of this disorder. Now, I think we'd all agree that the suffering from being exposed to a narcissist is extreme. I mean, it really, really is extreme, and it's all encompassing. It affects every aspect of your life, and I think you really just have to kind of turn on your logical, brain and say to yourself, how in the hell could somebody's mental illness do this to me? Well, of course it can't. Now, Dr. Richard Gallagher, I'm going to show you the next tile, which is his website, and this is kind of interesting. Now, of course, I really felt like I was sticking my neck in the news, 2 years ago when I flat out said on a video, I believe these things to be demonically possessed. I'm just not buying the concept of mental illness. In this case, mental illness just doesn't add up. Now, imagine what it would be like to be a well-respected psychiatrist and say, no, this is not mental illness. These things are demonically possessed. And that is the service that Dr. Richard Gallagher offers for narcissists. He detects demonic possession. He works very, very closely with many exorcists from around the world. And yeah, he says absolutely demons. And I'm going to tell you, I've always believed that. Okay, so what the hell happened? Because something happened here, and I'll let you guys kind of help me sort it out. So I'm sitting at my computer 2 weeks ago. I'm replying to an email, and my God, am I behind on emails. My computer has not been running great. I will admit that. It's been slower. Not that I feel like it's got to go in the shop, but it has been running slower. So I just attributed that to the fact that I've got these huge, huge files in my computer from this female stalker that's been, harassing me here at the channel. So I know that all of those files will very soon be forwarded to the Vancouver police, so I know it's just a matter of time before I get them out of there. So I just kind of accept it as that, right? I have these massive files, the computer's running slower. But one day I'm replying to some emails and up pops a notification in the corner. Now, notifications pop up from social media all day long, and I'll finish what I'm doing and then I'll go back on them. But this one, absolutely, it's like getting punched in the stomach. It was a friend's request from Trevor at Facebook, and of course, my first instinct was there's no way that odious, hideous little creature would have the nerve or the audacity to contact me. I somehow believed I was bulletproof. I saw the channel as a shield. I know that thousands of you get hoovered, and many of you are getting hoovered right this bloody minute. I don't know why I thought it would be different for me. I guess I thought exposing them made me exempt. I don't know what I was thinking. What I had neglected to remember was these creatures are absolute mindless zombie slaves to the agenda. They do not see us as unique individuals. They see us as possessions and truly do believe that they have the right to blow in and out of our lives on a whim. Now, initially I thought it was a flying monkey. I really didn't believe it was him, but when I saw the notification, I instantly felt sick. I mean, like projectile vomit kind of sick. So I get up, I pace around the house, I come back, I look at the notification a couple of times, and I'm thinking, it's got to be a flying monkey. It's got to be his girlfriend. There's just no way. So over the time I've had the channel, many of you have been hoovered, and many of you receive this hoover in the form of text messages. And many of you have sent me screen-saved images of that, and no, none of them have ever been personalized or customized to any particular victim. Just this generic bullshit dribble. So I think to myself, okay, for the sake of research, I'll take one for the team. I'll accept this friend's request, and let's see how similar, his hoover attempt is to everybody else's. And word for word, like everybody else's, like every screen-saved image I've ever seen. He starts out, he's sorry. I ask him what he's sorry for. He's not sorry for anything he did. He's not sorry for anything he did to me. He's not sorry for any of the chaos or trouble he caused, absolutely not. But what he is he's sorry I didn't believe him. Now, as you all know, there's only so much narc bullshit that you can fit in your bullshit bag, and once your bullshit bag is full and bursting at the seams, you just can't get no more narc bullshit in the bag. You reach a point of saturation where you simply cannot believe the unbelievable anymore. He invited me to come visit him in Medicine Hat. Not likely. And I didn't reply to that. Now, of course, I only had the friend's request open for 4 days. I was extremely gray rock. He was scrambling and desperate to get information out of me. There was zero Kim residual left on him. He truly seemed to be void any sort of vibration, any sort of life energy. I mean, truly, just a dead, empty meat suit, desperate, scrambling to get information. I immediately assumed he was trying to create a new Kim fake self so he could attempt to mirror that back on me. So when he did ask me questions, typically I didn't answer, but for the few I did answer, of course, I gave him absolutely false information. If he was going to attempt to create a fake Kim self, it was going to be based on bullshit. So anyways, he also says that yeah, he wanted me to come visit him, and when I didn't reply to that, he says, well, I'll come down there in October or November and I'll hunt you down. Well, of course, what else would a predator say? He did not say he loved me, but what he did say was that he believed I had loved him. I don't know if he was referring to me still loving him, or I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Absolutely disgusting. But I will tell you, in the 4 days, nothing warm and fuzzy. I was very cold. I was very distant. I didn't reply to most texts that he sent. On the few that I did, I gave him absolutely false and misleading information. Why? Because I don't know this piece of shit anything. He kind of had this dialogue going that nothing had happened. Like we were right back in the early stages of the love bombing and nothing had occurred. Like it was so bizarre. It was creepy, actually. But in addition to the communication with him being creepy, creepy things started happening around my home. It was almost as if the second that horrible man's voice started coming into my home through the computer, all hell just broke loose. I absolutely believe that any exposure to them has the ability to make us feel sick. I know many of you felt sick when you were hoovered. I had headaches, stomach pain, joint pain, immediate insomnia. I felt really anxious, stressed out, almost paranoid, pacing the house a lot. It was bad. I'm just going to let you know. It was bad. Now, what did the research show me? Did I learn anything from this? Well, I did. I now believe there are two types of hoovering. We refer to hoovering as one kind of generic thing. That, of course, means you're away from the narc. Hoovering, of course, is named after the Hoover vacuum. And what it implies is the creature is trying to suck you back in, much like a vacuum. But I've come to believe now that there's two types of hoovering. One, I'm going to say, is early departure hoovering, where I did this many times. Of course, during the 5 years I was with Trevor, he would do some odious, ridiculous, insane, horrendous thing. I would leave, and within a week or two, he would hoover me back. And of course, he would hoover me back with future faking and things like this, because of course he was still very residual heavy with kind of the essence of me. You know, he really knew how to trap me again. He knew how to hoover me because he was still very much mirroring me. Now, of course, I've been away from the pig for 2 years, so there is no residual Kim on him. There was none. I mean, truly void. Oh, he did say that he'd been single for some time. I didn't ask, nor do I give a shit, but he did volunteer that information. And that actually was quite interesting, because since there was no Kim residual on him, I'm not sure how to explain this, I wasn't getting any sort of sense that he was mirroring anyone else. So I did believe he'd been single for some time, because they don't have a personality. They don't have any genuine human character traits. And unless they are glommed onto someone, unless they are actively targeting someone or abusing someone and are very, heavy into that person's personality, I just don't know how to describe it. But what I saw was nothing. I saw nothing, like this incredible void, like this black hole of nothingness, truly a dead, empty meat suit. So I guess I've come to believe that there's, that early departure hoovering. And then after many years, when there is no residual of you left, I'm going to call it reconnection hoovering, because I don't know what else to call it, where they're kind of back at zero, where they've got nothing. They don't know you well enough now to really mirror you or really target you, where they're back in that information gathering stage. And really a lot of questions. He had a lot of questions for me, and as I said, I didn't answer any of them honestly. So over the 4 days that the friends request was active, and that's all it was 4 days, and of course, nothing warm and fuzzy. I remained gray rock throughout the entire horrible 4 days. But I'm going to tell you, within 1 hour of me accepting that friends request, my regular computer absolutely tanked. The big burst of light on the screen, it went black. It was in the shop for 2 weeks. motherboard crash, hard drive dead. They tried everything. They had that computer apart 10 times. Just no explanation for why it died. Now, something else kind of strange happened. I got 2 flat tires in a 4-day period of time, which in itself was pretty bizarre. I mean, the roads are fairly bad, I will admit that, but I haven't ever had a flat tire before. But 2 in that 4-day period of time. And something else. Now, as I've said many times, my house is hacienda style, which means I have an open courtyard, which is right behind me here, and the house is built around the perimeter of the property. So all the rooms look out into the courtyard where the big tree grows up, and you guys can see that behind me. Okay, so the tree houses a lot of birds. I mean, we've got a lot of birds around here. And birds often fly through the house. In fact, pretty much daily. Sometimes 3 or 4 of them together will fly through. And it's always been incident-free. It happens upstairs. It happens downstairs. And we don't have AC. A house that's open like this, well, I mean, obviously an air conditioning system wouldn't work. So we have ceiling fans. There are 3 operational fans in the house. One is right over here in the dining room. The other 2 are upstairs. Now, the fans are always on. They're always on low, and they're just always going. I mean, we've never touched them, just leave them going. And in that 4-day period of time, 3 birds flew into the house. Well, only 3, and that was kind of strange because birds fly through almost every day. But birds stopped flying into the house, except for those 3. All 3 of the birds, one in the dining room, one in my bedroom, and one in Eddie and Exton's room upstairs, flew in, hit the ceiling fan, and all 3 of the birds had their wings severed on impact. So the bird fell, wings beside them, birds dead. This happened 3 times in 4 days. Now, I don't have machetes strapped to a motor up there. What I have is old Mexican wooden ceiling fans. The blades are not sharp. The blades are quite thick. I have no explanation for this. In fact, the first time it happened, I just started screaming. I mean, it happened right in front of me. I was sitting in my office right there, and it just happened in the room right in front of me. I started screaming. The boys ran down. Exton's going, "What the hell did you do?" The birds. I said, I don't know what happened. He hit the fan. Both boys said, "Mom, come on, like seriously. How the hell would their wings come off?" Well, I don't know how their wings came off. I really don't. But 3 birds in 4 days hit the fan and the wings came off. Strangest thing I've ever seen. I have tried to make, I believe it's 22 videos over the last 2 weeks. Attempt after attempt. Nothing will load. Nothing will render. As you guys know, I did try and load a video the other day. It was, I think, a 17-18 minute video, and 1 minute of it loaded. Communication immediately resulted in isolation. I was immediately cut off from you guys, and you guys are my only support network, so I was immediately cut off. Immediately strange things started to happen. Immediately I became sick. I mean, just lost my appetite, not sleeping, really feeling a sense of panic and high anxiety. And financial burden, of course, with the flat tires and having to buy this new computer, and the money I had to spend to try and get the computer fixed, which never worked, the money I had to spend on this old relic of a computer, and now I've got this learning curve ahead of me to try and figure out how to work the new one. I believe it'll be okay as I do learn how to work the Mac, but right now I'm pretty much limited to this. Now, in a state of absolute frustration over being cut off like this, you know, I am making this video right now, and I'm really hoping it's going to load, but I would say that I'm definitely experiencing some type of electronic interference. Oh, in addition to that, pretty much all of my social media accounts have been hacked. Do not ever underestimate a narcissist's enslavement to the agenda. Do not underestimate their grandiose belief that they can just come and go into your life as they choose. do not for 1 second believe that you will not be hoovered, because I did not believe it was possible, and it most certainly did happen. And Captain full of shit just thought he was going to pick up where he left off. Why this little beast would ever think that I would want to talk to him is beyond my comprehension. But their sense of self-righteousness, their sense of grandiosity, their belief that they can do whatever they want and they will never be held accountable for the things that they did is over the top. I mean, it really is. And nothing good will ever come from having one of these things in your life. Now, of course, it's easy to say go no contact, but all they do is start a fake account and then get in touch with you. We're all well aware of this game that they play, and hoovering is nothing more than a game. They understand the game. We don't understand the game, and you just can't play a game that you don't understand the rules to. And on top of that, who the hell wants to play a game in the first place, right? I mean, that's not what relationships are. That's not what love or, friendship is. It's just, these things are not a game, right? And that's all these things can play. Now, the one thing that I did really come to conclude from all of this is they truly are demonically possessed. And the reason I mentioned Dr. Gallagher early in the video is because I'm noticing that really credible, really well-respected psychiatrists over the last few years that I've had the channel, one after the other, are swaying away from the concept that these things are mentally ill. Because truly, mental illness just doesn't fit. How can somebody's mental illness do this to people? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous, and I really want to reinforce the fact that there's something really rotten about these things, something so horrible, so dark, so lifeless. I mean, it's like John Carpenter's movie, They Live. Truly, they are the living dead. And this is a bit of a zombie apocalypse. So if you can avoid the thing, most certainly avoid it. Now, something else I want to mention. Many of you have said to me that you've been absolutely no contact, but were forced to attend court, whether it was property division or child custody or whatever it was, and you were exposed to the narc for a short period of time. And though the narc wasn't hoovering you at the time, you became sick, you became frustrated, stressed out, anxious. The negative energy coming off these things really does affect impasse, and certainly has the ability to make any one of us sick. Nothing good is ever going to come of having one of these things in your life or having any contact with them. And as far as research goes, kind of this discovery that I now believe there's two types of hoovering, it really wasn't worth it to me. Like, the information that I gathered from this little experiment is not worth the problems I've had as a result of any interaction whatsoever. Would I ever allow any contact again? Most certainly not. I guess it's kind of valuable to recognize that once your residual wears off of them, they really are right back at square one and truly are slaves to this agenda. When they become desperate for supply, and Trevor is clearly desperate for supply, he's just throwing out what I believe is a very wide net to see if he can catch anything, and the idea that he thought that I may be interested, I mean, it just blew my mind. I mean, these things are truly fucking nuts. Like, I mean, nuts, out of their mind nuts. After everything narcs do to us, the concept that they can just blow back into our lives like nothing happened, it is really outrageous. And though many of you have showed me your text messages and things, from the narc when you were being hoovered, I'm going to tell you, same for me. Nothing personal, nothing unique, nothing that identified me as an individual. The exact same generic, narc hoover 101 bullshit that every single one of you have experienced. So if the narc says he's sorry, no, he's not. And I mean he or she, regardless of, whether your narc is male or female, they're all the fucking same. Every one of them's the same. Black, white, young, old, rich, poor, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. It's as if we're all dealing with one creature. Now, of course, I screen saved the text messages, and I have gone back on some of your emails and done some comparables to the text messages I received, and honest to God, you couldn't tell one from the other. Like, if you couldn't see the name on top, who they came from, you couldn't tell one from the other. And if you are being hoovered today, I warn you, cut this piece of shit off. Just get it out of your life. Don't let it in. And, when the word evil comes up, demonic possession, when psychiatrists are now, resorting to exorcisms to try and slow down the abuse from these things, you got to draw a pretty clear boundary around allowing this kind of shit in your life, right? I mean, we all have to stand up and protect ourselves from this. Never again in my lifetime would I ever allow any communication whatsoever. In fact, if he ever attempts to contact me again, I will be contacting the police in his community for a restraining order. And restraining orders the way, absolutely the way to go. I just don't know any other way, because all they'll do is just start a new fake profile at social media to try and get to you, and this is completely unacceptable. I actually really regret accepting that friend's request, so it was only for 4 days. And I would strongly suggest, if you are considering breaking no contact, whether it's for research, whether you're a vlogger or a blogger or you're writing a book, I know a lot of you are actively researching this, just say no. I really hope this video loads. God, I've certainly missed you guys so much. I felt so isolated and so cut off. Guys, if you're being hoovered, get the thing out of your life. If you're considering no contact, do it. No contact is always going to be the best way, and I think we understand them enough that breaking no contact for the sake of research, or as I put it, taking one for the team, it just isn't worth it. Guys, thank you so much for standing by me, and man, have I missed you guys. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you're having a great narc-free day.